I don't like it either. I mean, I like kind of brag on Michael Jordan here a little bit, and I think we were a similar ilk with the Jazz. Is I like where guys just tighten their belt up and say, you know what, let's go to work. We just got to get better. Yeah. We got to play harder. We got to play smarter instead of just, where's the grass greener? I'm going to go there and win a championship. I think it devalues that. You're not climbing the mountain. You're taking a helicopter to the top.
Totally agree.
So again, I'm not a fan of.
John Stockton just said what everyone's been thinking, but nobody had the guts to say out loud. The all-time assist leader didn't hold back when he was asked about LeBron James, constantly putting himself in the same conversation as Michael Jordan. And let me tell you, what he said has the entire basketball world picking sides right now. This isn't just another hot take from a retired player trying to stay relevant. This is a direct challenge from one of the most respected point guards in NBA history, calling out what he sees as a pattern that's been going on for way too long. The question is, did Stockton cross a line, or did he finally say what needed to be said?
As to the GOAT is, Stockton didn't name Michael Jordan, LeBron James, or Kobe Bryant. He said, and I quote, "Well, I wouldn't use those three. Some of those three, or one of those three, wouldn't even be in my top 5. I hate that question, and it gets asked to me all the time." Michael Jordan is widely considered by many as the greatest basketball player of all time. MJ went 6-0 in the NBA Finals, leading the Chicago Bulls to 6 championships from 91 to 98.
You know it's rare in today's NBA? A player from the golden era actually speaking their mind without a filter. John Stockton built his entire Hall of Fame career on 2 things, making everyone around him better and staying quiet while doing it. The man holds the all-time assists record with 15,806 assists. That's not a record that's getting touched anytime soon. He also leads in steals with 3,265. For nearly 2 decades, Stockton ran the point for one of the most consistent teams in basketball history, and he did it without ever demanding the spotlight. That's what makes this moment so significant. Stockton isn't known for stirring up controversy. He's not the type to jump on podcasts or social media to throw shade at current players. When he talks, people in the basketball world actually listen because they know he's not chasing attention. He's earned the right to speak on greatness because he played alongside it, competed against it, and defined it in his own way. So when word started spreading in early 2025 about comments Stockton made regarding LeBron James and his constant comparisons to Michael Jordan, the basketball community sat up straight. This wasn't coming from some media personality looking for clicks. This was coming from someone who actually battled against Jordan in the finals, someone who knows what real greatness looks like up close. The context here matters. Over the past few months, LeBron has been more vocal than ever about his place in basketball history. Whether it's post-game interviews, social media posts, or conversations with reporters, he's made it clear that he believes he belongs in the same tier as Michael Jordan. And look, LeBron has the resume to back up a lot of claims. 4 championships, 4 finals MVPs, all-time leading scorer, and a career that spanned over 2 decades of excellence. But there's something about the way LeBron has approached this conversation that's rubbed a lot of old-school players the wrong way. It's not just what he's saying, it's the frequency, it's the self-promotion, it's the constant need to remind everyone where he thinks he stands. And apparently, John Stockton has been paying attention. The question everyone's asking now is, what finally made him speak up?
Years ago, after we won the championship, you said, look at his face. You said.
So y'all, everyone saw me crying. Like, that was all for 52 years of everything in sports going on in Cleveland. And then after I stopped, I was like, that one right there made you the greatest player of all time. Everybody was just talking how they were the greatest team of all time. Like, they was the greatest team to ever assemble. And for us to come back, you know, the way we came back in that fashion, I was like, you did something special.
You know what?
Let's be real about something. LeBron James didn't just stumble into GOAT conversations. He's actively cultivated them. And there's nothing necessarily wrong with being confident in your abilities, but over the years, there's been a pattern that even casual fans have started to notice. After breaking Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's all-time scoring record in early 2023, LeBron made several comments about how the record solidified his case as the greatest ever. Fair enough, that's a monumental achievement. But then came the social media posts, the cryptic tweets, the Instagram stories with goat emojis, the liked comments from fans claiming he surpassed Jordan. In interviews throughout 2024 and into 2025, LeBron has repeatedly brought up his longevity, his ability to dominate in multiple eras, and his versatility as arguments for why the GOAT debate should swing in his favor. During one notable post-game interview, he said something along the lines of, "I've done things in this league that nobody's ever done, and that includes Mike." The comment sent shockwaves through basketball media. But here's where it gets interesting. Michael Jordan never had to campaign for his legacy. He won 6 championships, went 6-0 in the finals, and walked away from the game without ever publicly declaring himself the greatest. He let the rings, the moments, the mythology speak for itself. That silence, that confidence without the need for validation, is part of what made Jordan's legacy untouchable in the eyes of many. The contrast in approaches has created a fascinating divide. Younger fans who grew up watching LeBron dominate see his confidence as justified. He's overcome more obstacles, played with less talent around him at times, and sustained excellence longer than anyone in history. To them, talking about his greatness isn't arrogance, it's facts. But to the generation that watched Jordan, there's something off-putting about a player constantly reminding everyone how great he is. Basketball in the 80s and 90s operated on a different code. You proved yourself through competition, through rivalries, through moments that left no doubt. You didn't have to tell people you were great, they just knew. And apparently, John Stockton represents that old-school mentality. He's watched LeBron's career with respect, acknowledging the incredible achievements, but somewhere along the way, the constant self-comparison to Jordan became too much. The trigger? That's still not fully public yet, but what Stockton said when he finally addressed it has everyone talking.
It was a constant playing around with getting rosters set up or seeing who looks good and who might have a chance to win a title for the next couple of seasons if he goes there, always positioning himself in a way to have the best chance to win. And even though he did that, and he got to the finals 10 times in his career, he still won less than Michael Jordan.
Now here's where things get spicy. In a conversation that hasn't hit mainstream media yet, John Stockton was asked directly about the LeBron versus Jordan debate. And instead of giving some diplomatic, politically correct answer, Stockton let it rip. According to sources who were present, Stockton's response was direct and unfiltered. He essentially said that LeBron needs to stop comparing himself to Michael Jordan and just focus on his own legacy. The specific phrase that's been circulating is even more pointed than that. Stockton reportedly said, "Stop comparing yourself to MJ. Let other people do that for you if it's meant to be." But he didn't stop there. Stockton went on to break down exactly why the comparison bothers him so much. It's not about LeBron's talent. Stockton made it clear that LeBron is one of the greatest players to ever touch a basketball. The issue, from Stockton's perspective, is about respect for the game's history and understanding what separates good from great from legendary. Stockton pointed to Jordan's mentality as the defining factor. When MJ stepped on the court, there was no question about his intent. He was there to destroy you. He took every slight, every doubt, every challenge personally, and he responded by elevating his game to levels that broke opponents mentally. Stockton saw it firsthand. He played against Jordan in back-to-back finals in 1997 and 1998, and he watched his team get dismantled by someone operating on a different psychological plane. According to Stockton, that killer instinct, that refusal to accept anything less than total domination, is what made Jordan untouchable. And in his view, LeBron has never quite operated with that same ruthless mentality. LeBron is brilliant, versatile, arguably more well-rounded as a complete player, But that edge, that psychological warfare Jordan waged on opponents, that's the difference. Stockton also addressed the finals record issue. Jordan's 6-0 finals record isn't just about winning, it's about never giving his opponents hope. When Jordan got to the finals, it was over. There was no Game 7 drama. There was no coming back from 3-1 down. It was systematic domination. LeBron's finals appearances are impressive in quantity, but the losses matter in this conversation, whether people want to admit it or not. And then came the part that really stung. Stockton suggested that LeBron's constant need to compare himself to Jordan actually undermines his own legacy. If you're truly in that conversation, you don't need to remind people. The body of work speaks, the moments speak, the fear you put in opponents speaks. By constantly bringing it up, Stockton implied, LeBron reveals a level of insecurity about where he actually stands. Wait until you hear what happened next. The basketball world didn't waste any time picking sides. As soon as word of Stockton's comments started spreading through insider circles, social media erupted, and I mean erupted. LeBron fans came out swinging immediately. They pointed to Stockton's 2 finals losses to Jordan as evidence of bias. Of course he's going to defend MJ. Jordan ended his championship dreams, one viral tweet read. They argued that Stockton is part of the old guard that refuses to acknowledge how the game has evolved and how LeBron's all-around excellence surpasses Jordan's more limited offensive dominance. The advanced stats community jumped in with their spreadsheets and metrics. They flooded timelines with graphs showing LeBron's superior assist numbers, rebounding numbers, and overall versatility. Jordan never averaged a triple-double in the finals. LeBron has done it multiple times, became a rallying cry for the pro-LeBron faction. But on the other side, the old-school basketball fans rallied behind Stockton. Finally, someone said it. Finally, someone from that era called out what they've been thinking for years. The respect for Stockton's opinion comes from the fact that he's not known for hot takes or attention-seeking behavior. When he speaks, it carries weight. Former players started weighing in, though most tried to stay diplomatic. A few hinted that they agreed with Stockton's sentiment without explicitly saying so. One retired player posted on social media, "Sometimes the greatest statement is silence. Let your work speak." The subtext was clear. The generational divide this controversy exposed is fascinating. For fans under 30, many of whom never watched Jordan play live, LeBron is their GOAT. He's the player they grew up with, the one who's been dominant their entire basketball-watching lives. The idea that he should stay quiet about his accomplishments seems ridiculous to them. But for fans who witnessed Jordan's reign in real time, there's a fundamental difference in how greatness was expressed. You earned your place in history through performance, not publicity. You let the fear in your opponent's eyes tell the story. You didn't need to tweet about it, or post about it, or reference it in interviews. But here's where it gets really interesting. This controversy goes way beyond just one comment from a retired player. It's touching on something deeper about basketball culture and how we measure greatness in the modern era. Let's zoom out for a second and talk about what's really happening here. This isn't just about John Stockton versus LeBron James. It's about 2 completely different approaches to building a legacy, and the tension between them reveals a lot about where basketball culture stands in 2025. When Stockton says LeBron should stop comparing himself to Jordan, he's really saying something about the nature of greatness itself. In Stockton's era, there was an unwritten rule. You let your game do the talking. You showed up, you competed, you won or you lost, and the narrative built itself around your performance. The mythology of greatness was constructed by fans, by media, by opponents who couldn't stop you. It wasn't something you actively managed. LeBron represents a different era entirely. He came into the league in 2003 with social media on the horizon, with personal branding becoming as important as basketball skills, with athletes taking control of their own narratives. LeBron didn't just accept the role of player. He became a CEO, a content creator, a legacy manager. He's been intentional about crafting how history will remember him. Neither approach is inherently wrong, but they're fundamentally incompatible in the eyes of old-school players. To someone like Stockton, greatness is something you earn through the respect of your peers and the fear of your opponents. It's not something you declare. The moment you start campaigning for GOAT status, you've already lost the argument in their eyes. There's also a respect factor at play here that can't be ignored. Michael Jordan is basketball royalty. He transcended the sport in a way that no player before or since has managed. For someone to actively campaign to supplant Jordan feels, to many from that era, like a lack of respect for what Jordan meant to the game. It's one thing to quietly believe you're better. It's another to publicly and repeatedly make that case. Stockton's credibility in this debate comes from his unique position. He played against Jordan in the biggest moments. He felt the weight of trying to beat him when a championship was on the line. He watched Jordan elevate his game when the stakes were highest, and he came up short. That experience gives his opinion weight that a media personality or fan could never have. But there's a flip side to this that needs to be acknowledged. LeBron has faced criticism his entire career that Jordan never had to deal with. The expectations placed on LeBron from the moment he entered the league as the chosen one were impossible. Every move he made was scrutinized, every decision questioned, every loss magnified. In that context, taking control of his own narrative makes sense. Why let others define your legacy when you can shape it yourself? The deeper issue Stockton's comments expose is this: can greatness exist in the modern era the way it did in the 90s? Is it even possible for a player to build mystique through silence when everything is documented, analyzed, and debated in real time? LeBron's approach might not be by choice, but by necessity. The media landscape demands constant content, constant engagement, constant self-promotion. Still, there's something to be said for the approach Jordan took. He won 6 championships and barely said a word about being the GOAT. He didn't need to. The moment he hit that shot over Byron Russell in the 1998 finals, walked off the court and retired, the conversation was over. That's the power Stockton is referencing. That's the standard he's holding LeBron to.
So what's really going on here? Is this just an old player unable to accept that the game has evolved? Or is Stockton pointing to something fundamental about what separates all-time greats from the absolute apex of basketball history? The truth, as always, is more nuanced than the headline suggests. Stockton isn't saying LeBron isn't great. He's not even saying LeBron can't be in the conversation with Jordan. What he's saying is that the way LeBron is approaching that conversation is undermining his case rather than strengthening it. Think about it this way. When you have to constantly remind people of your greatness, it suggests doubt, not just doubt from others, but internal doubt about whether the case is as strong as you believe it is. Jordan never had that doubt. His 6 rings, his perfect finals record, his cultural impact, they all spoke so loudly that he never needed to add his own voice to the chorus. Stockton's comments reveal a respect for LeBron's game that often gets lost in the controversy. He's not disputing the statistics, the longevity, the incredible career LeBron has built. What he's questioning is the psychological approach to legacy. In Stockton's view, the greatest players are defined by an almost supernatural confidence that doesn't require external validation. Jordan had it. Kobe had it. The truly elites, the ones who transcend generations, they simply know, and they don't need to tell you. But here's something else to consider. Maybe LeBron's approach is precisely what makes him relatable to a new generation. Maybe the constant self-advocacy, the willingness to fight for his place in history, resonates with fans who value authenticity over mythology. Maybe Stockton's old-school mentality, while admirable, belongs to an era that's never coming back. There's also the question of what this says about LeBron's actual belief in his own case. If you're truly convinced you're the GOAT, why does it matter what John Stockton or anyone else thinks? Why engage with the debate at all? The fact that LeBron continues to reference Jordan to measure himself against that standard suggests that on some level he's still chasing Jordan's ghost, and maybe that's the point Stockton is really making. The larger conversation about how we measure greatness isn't going away. Is it championships? Jordan wins. Is it longevity? LeBron wins. Is it statistical dominance? Depends on which stats you value. Is it impact on the game? Cultural influence? Ability to elevate teammates? Every metric favors someone different, which is why this debate will rage on forever. But what Stockton is arguing is that there's something beyond metrics. There's an intangible quality, a psychological dominance, a refusal to accept anything less than perfection that separates Jordan from everyone else.
You either have it or you don't. And in Stockton's eyes, LeBron's constant need to validate his greatness suggests he doesn't quite have it at Jordan's level. Can this debate ever be settled? Probably not, and maybe that's okay. Maybe the beauty of sports is that we get to argue about these things forever, projecting our own values and preferences onto athletes who gave us incredible memories. But one thing is certain, John Stockton just made sure this conversation isn't going anywhere anytime soon. So here's what I want to know. Is Stockton right that LeBron needs to stop comparing himself to Jordan and just let his game speak? Or is LeBron justified in putting himself in that conversation after everything he's accomplished? Does self-promotion undermine greatness, or is it just a necessary part of managing your legacy in the modern era? Drop your take in the comments, because this is far from over. At the end of the day, this controversy isn't going away. Whether you're Team Stockton or Team LeBron, one thing's clear. This debate just hit a whole new level, and the basketball world is more divided than ever. The GOAT conversation will continue to evolve, but moments like this remind us why we love this game so much. The passion, the history, the refusal to let greatness go unchallenged. If you want to stay updated on all the drama, controversy, and untold stories from the NBA, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. The basketball world never stops giving us incredible storylines, and we're here to break down every single one. Let's keep this conversation going.